Right now on Good Morning America First Look, thousands of new tips in the search for Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother after this doorbell video showed a man at her front door.
New confusion over the unprecedented decision to close the airspace over El Paso, the dispute over a counter-drone laser system. The Attorney General's fiery hearing on Capitol Hill about the Epstein files.
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
And a document appearing to show one Congresswoman's search history in the Attorney General's hands.
The death of Dawson's Creek star James Van Der Beek at age 48, raising awareness and questions about colorectal cancer.
A new record for Team USA at the Winter Games, along with some controversy, and now an infamous ex-boyfriend denied.
Later, the married couple arrested over a heated game of pickleball.
A treasure trove of records found at the bottom of the ocean.
And the jewel thief who escaped on a donkey?
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay.
And I'm Hannah Batal. We begin with the search for Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, entering day 12.
Authorities are reporting thousands of new tips since new doorbell video showed a man outside her home. Here's ABC's Lionel Moise.
FBI agents seen doing an extensive search in the foothills of the Catalina Mountains with no sign of Nancy Guthrie. Investigators looking through brush and along roads for anything the man seen on video at the 84-year-old's front door might have discarded.
Any debris that was thrown out on the side of the road, anything that was dropped on the side of the road, it could be really, a piece of paper, something with a fingerprint on it. I've been in these cases where, you'll go back and we found cell phones 2-3 days later.
The latest search coming after police questioned and released a man who says he's a delivery driver. Sources say he was on investigators' radar before the doorbell video was released and that the FBI wanted to speak with him after looking at digital data, including cell phone usage and traffic data.
They told me I was being detained for kidnapping. And I asked him, well, kidnapping of who? And they told me this lady, I don't know her name. And,
Nancy Guthrie?
Yeah, that's her.
He says he has nothing to do with Guthrie's kidnapping.
They better do their job and find the suspect that did it so they can clear my name. I'm done. Just look at what I'm putting my family through.
Officials are still trying to determine the source of those two ransom notes, demanding $6 million in Bitcoin, with deadlines that have since passed and no proof of life.
It's difficult to locate and rescue the person who's been kidnapped. The complexity of these investigations have been made even more intense because kidnappers are increasingly using technology to plan these operations, to receive the ransoms in these operations, and to avoid detection by law enforcement.
Closely analyzing that doorbell video and every detail from the person's weapon, clothing, backpack, and even mannerisms. Since that doorbell video was released, more than 4,000 calls have flooded into the tip lines with a total of 18,000 tips since Guthrie vanished. Hannah, Sophie.
Lionel, thanks. On Capitol Hill, the House has voted to cancel President Trump's tariffs on Canada, with 6 Republicans joining Democrats to pass the measure. The vote is a rebuke of Trump's trade policy, but even if the resolution wins approval in the Senate, it would face a certain veto from the president. He's now vowing any Republicans who oppose him on tariffs will face consequences.
New confusion over the unusual decision by the FAA to close the airspace over El Paso, Texas. Closure was imposed for 10 days before being lifted after just hours. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the new details. Nicole, good morning.
Hannah, good morning to you. Although the unprecedented flight restrictions over El Paso have now been lifted, the airspace over other parts of Texas and New Mexico, they remain closed this morning. Sources say the abrupt closure of the airspace was triggered by an interagency clash within the Trump administration after Homeland Security used a counter-drone laser system to shoot down an object near Fort Bliss without telling the FAA. Now that prompted the FAA, which had safety concerns, to close the airspace. Sources say the object that was shot down was a balloon, but Trump administration officials said the Pentagon took action because of Mexican cartel drones. Whatever the cause, the airspace closure led to chaos and confusion among pilots as well as air traffic controllers. And last night, in a classified briefing, senators say an FAA official acknowledged that better communication is needed going forward. Sophie.
Nicole, thank you. Now to the explosive hearing on the Epstein files. Attorney General Pam Bondi grilled by lawmakers. insults,
You're a failed politician.
accusations,
I believe you just lied under oath.
and fury.
You don't tell me
I
anything.
did.
A combative hearing before a House committee as Attorney General Pam Bondi took questions about the Justice Department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files.
I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through, especially as a result of that monster.
The hearing starting on a somber note, Bondi expressing sorrow for Epstein's victims.
Please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
But Bondi declined to apologize for the Justice Department's initial failure to redact victims' names from the files.
I'm not going to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The hearing only becoming more contentious from that point on.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me
I
anything,
did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Democrats sparring with the Attorney General, launching insults.
These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell.
Some even bringing props.
Trump's name appears more times in the Epstein files than God's name appears in the book about God. Trump's name also appears more times in the Epstein file than Harry Potter's name appears in the 7 books about Harry Potter.
Republican Thomas Massey pressing Bondi on why the DOJ initially redacted the names of some powerful men, including billionaire Les Wexner.
Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
and we invited you in. This guy has Trump
Gentlemen.
derangement syndrome. He needs to get. You're a failed politician.
Bondi repeatedly referring to a binder with prepared information on some of the committee members.
This is what Congressman Liu didn't want to talk about. California has released 4,561 criminal illegal aliens onto its street.
Photos of Bondi's binder appear to show printouts of Congresswoman Jayapal's search history from when she searched the unredacted Epstein files earlier this week. Jayapal saying, "It is totally inappropriate and against the separations of powers for the DOJ to surveil us as we search the Epstein files." Bondi argued instead of Epstein, lawmakers should focus on President Trump's successes, including his focus on crime.
The death of actor James Van Der Beek from colorectal cancer is now raising awareness and questions about the disease. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
After battling colorectal cancer, former teen idol James Van Der Beek has died at just 48 years old. He announced in 2024 he had cancer, but it was just last month he revealed it was colorectal cancer. The dad of 6 spoke with our Robin Roberts about life with his diagnosis.
Your wife, Kim, she was there. You said that she has been your rock. How has she helped you?
She's, this is where I'm going to lose it. She's been amazing. She's really taught me what unconditional love is.
Van Der Beek's career spanned 3 decades. Most notably known for his role as Dawson Leary in Dawson's Creek. His wife posting, he met his final days with courage, faith, and grace. Colorectal cancer affects the lower intestine and is the second most common cancer in both men and women. About 160,000 people are expected to be diagnosed this year, with more than 55,000 annual deaths. One major concern, more people under 50 are being diagnosed.
More young people being affected by this disease, and to the point that I would actually call it an epidemic.
37-year-old father of 2, Chris Kowalski, learned he had stage 4 colorectal cancer last year after experiencing belly pain and fatigue.
It's one of those things that, you got to get checked out because you never know what can happen.
Belly pain and fatigue are symptoms, as well as a change in bowel habits, blood in your stool, and weight loss. Doctors emphasize the importance of diet and exercise, but say there's no known cause of colorectal cancer.
It's not necessarily genetics. It's more likely to be environmental. It could be microbiome, but still it remains an unanswered question.
Colonoscopies are recommended beginning at age 45. Earlier if you have a family history of colorectal cancer. Kowalski has no family history, but now, after 18 rounds of chemo with a clinical trial, he has a good prognosis and is on a mission to raise awareness.
I'm super proud of the fact that as of right now, over 100 people that are in my network have gotten colonoscopies since April. And unfortunately, 5 of those people had polyps.
The death rate has been dropping in older adults, mainly because polyps are found by screening and removed before they develop into cancer. But for younger people, death rates are on the rise. Hannah, Sophie. Andrea, thank you. Time now for your Thursday weather.
Good morning. Weather map staying quiet. Some snow in the Rockies and some lake effect snow showers downwind of the Great Lakes. Otherwise, next significant storm is until late week. Some Pacific moisture into the southwest. Then we're going to get some heavy rains from Texas, Southern Plains, Mississippi River Valley, and ultimately over to the Carolinas into the southeast. We could have 1 to 2 inches of rain from Texas all the way to the Carolinas, even more Oklahoma, Arkansas, and into Kentucky. The brunt of this storm looks to slide south to the northeast over the weekend. We'll keep you posted on that track. That's your forecast. I'm ABC News meteorologist Lee Goldberg.
Coming up, another state gives up sensitive voter information to the federal government.
But first, the sky-high rescue of a man using a construction crane.
And a new record for Team USA at the Winter Games, along with some controversy. We're back with a heart-stopping rescue in Sarasota, Florida. This crane was used to help a worker suffering a medical emergency near the top of a high-rise construction site. The fire department special operations team carefully lowered the worker from the ground from 17 stories up to be rushed to the hospital.
The state of Nebraska now plans to turn over data on all its registered voters to the Justice Department. The DOJ says it wants to make sure Nebraska is complying with voting laws, but local election officials say they're concerned legitimate voters will be kicked off voter rolls. This follows an FBI raid on a Georgia election office where agents seized ballots from the 2020 election. A separate attempt to access voter rolls in Michigan was denied this week.
Now to the Winter Games, and 12 medals now for Team USA, including a new record, plus an ex-boyfriend denied, and the duo who overcame a sexual assault scandal.
This morning, Team USA making history at the Winter Games. Speed skater Jordan Stoll setting an Olympic record in the men's 1,000 meters, winning his first gold.
Being able to win one and doing it in the 1,000 meter, you wait 4 years to be able to do it. It means a lot, so I'm happy so far.
Also bringing home the gold, skier Elizabeth Lemley. Snowboarder Chloe Kim will be the one to watch today as she chases a third gold in the halfpipe. Lindsey Vonn says she's making progress after her devastating crash, posting these images, saying a third surgery on her leg was successful. Back on the ice, an upset for figure skating couple Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, who came in second in the free dance, losing the gold to France.
We couldn't have skated any better, and we're super proud with how we took the ice, how we handled ourselves every time, and the rest is out of our hands.
But for the new French champions, their win is not without controversy. The duo only forming after Laurence Vanier-Beaudry's skating partner and boyfriend was banned because of sexual assault allegations, which he denies. Another gold for France went to Julia Simone in the women's biathlon, only months after she was found guilty of credit card fraud for stealing from her teammate. Another headline from the Games, this one off the slopes. Yesterday, we told you about a Norwegian Olympian who admitted on live TV that he cheated on his girlfriend, hoping to win her back. Now she is speaking out, saying it's hard to forgive, even after a declaration of love in front of the whole world.
Looking at the medal count overnight, Norway and Italy are tied for first place. The U.S. is in third.
We can make it.
Go Team USA.
Coming up, why the man in charge of Instagram says the social media platform is not addictive.
Also had the married couple arrested over a heated game of pickleball.
Back now with lawmakers brawling on the floor of Turkey's parliament. The punches started flying after a disagreement about a judicial appointment. A 15-minute break was called so that order could be restored.
A Florida couple is facing battery charges after a heated game of pickleball at their country club near Daytona Beach. Anthony and Julianne Sapienza were taken into custody after allegedly punching a 70-year-old man in the face, pushing a woman to the ground, and hitting another man with a paddle. No comment yet from the couple.
Now to the social media platforms on trial, accused of getting teenagers addicted. The head of Instagram taking the stand. A landmark trial in Los Angeles. Meta's platforms, Instagram and Facebook, as well as Google's YouTube, are accused of designing their platforms to addict users. The plaintiff claims the apps hooked her with their notifications and infinite scrolling. But Instagram chief Adam Mosseri took the stand and refused to accept the premise of clinical addiction, instead using the term problematic use, defining it as someone spending more time on Instagram than they feel good about, and that definitely happens. The questioning then turned to Instagram's plastic surgery filters and their possible effect on teens and body image. Jurors saw internal emails where executives appeared to debate whether those filters cause body dysmorphia. The plaintiff claims the company prioritizes profit over safety. But Mosseri insisted keeping teens safe is in the company's financial interest, saying it's really hard to imagine any instance where prioritizing safety isn't good for revenue. But defense attorneys are now trying to prove the plaintiff had mental health struggles before using their apps.
They're pointing at KGM, that's the name for the 19-year-old who's the plaintiff in this case. They're pointing at KGM and saying, yes, there could be some negative things about social media, but let's talk about her, that before she got into social media, she had already had a therapist. There was already issues with her, and that's what caused a lot of the mental and physical issues that she's arguing with, not social media.
With social media apps on trial, artificial intelligence is also in the spotlight as another high-profile AI employee quits over safety concerns. Former OpenAI researcher Zoe Hitzig sounding the alarm about ads on their platform, saying the company is building an economic engine that creates stronger incentives to override its own rules. But OpenAI insists the ads will not influence responses. As for the social media trial, Mark Zuckerberg is expected to testify next week.
An important conversation. Coming up, the jewel thief who escaped on a donkey.
Plus, a treasure trove of records found at the bottom of the ocean. Time to check the pulse. We begin with a lost and found story 3 decades in the making.
A shipping container lost at sea back in 1992 has been recovered from the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. It was filled with vinyl records that are perfectly preserved. Hundreds of those records belong to a hip-hop group from Louisville. It was their first album.
Members of the group are now adults in different careers, but they plan to reunite to release the record. Next, sales are up at McDonald's.
Yeah, some popular socks are one reason why. McDonald's executive says the chain became the largest seller of socks in the world during its Grinch meal promotion in December, which included Grinch-themed socks. Next, Pope Leo can get ready for some college hoops and he's not going to have to travel too far.
Reports say his alma mater, Villanova, is finalizing plans to play their season opener against Notre Dame in Rome this fall, about 5 miles from the Vatican.
That would be epic.
Yes, and next, one thief's 4-legged getaway.
After breaking into a shop where he stole 14-karat gold jewelry, police say this man in Turkey jumped on his donkey and got out of there.
But surveillance cameras caught his escape, and it didn't take long for police to catch him. They say he may have been drunk. Top headlines next. Checking more top stories, the FBI is conducting an extensive search near Nancy Guthrie's Arizona home, looking for items the masked man seen at Guthrie's front door may have thrown away. Authorities report 4,000 calls to tip lines since that video's release.
An Olympic athlete from Ukraine has been disqualified from the Winter Games for changing his helmet to include a tribute to people killed in the war with Russia. The Olympic Committee says the tribute violates its ban on political statements.
Police in British Columbia, Canada say the suspect in a school shooting that left 8 people dead is a teenager who died by suicide and had a history of mental health concerns.
An assistant professor at Ohio State University is now on leave after this confrontation with a journalist. He appeared to tackle the cameraman who was trying to interview a former school president.
Today's weather, up to a foot of snow in the Rockies, lake-effect snow showers in the Northeast, clear skies across the rest of the country.
And finally, a couple who found love on a boat.
Here's Danny New.
This Valentine's Day week, we're meeting a couple whose love story kind of sounds like... Did you know it was going to kind of end up being like the Love Boat, too?
No, not at the time.
For about 4 decades, Gary and Susan Parker have been volunteering for Mercy Ships, a nonprofit that brings hospital ships around the world to perform life-changing surgeries in primarily developing nations. Gary was one of the first surgeons to come aboard back in the mid-'80s. Do you remember what this kid's name was?
Alfred.
You still remember Alfred 40 years later?
It's the first ones, he was one of the first patients.
But Gary and Susan can also remember meeting each other in 1987. At 25, Susan had just joined to volunteer as an executive assistant.
You know when a surgeon boards a ship and he's single. The word goes around.
Well, fast forward a little bit, and here are their engagement photos in Ghana before marrying in 1991. Soon, they were raising their 2 children on the ship. Here's their son, Wesley, watching TV with some of the young patients. And here's an interview with their daughter, Karis, from 11 years ago, giving her feedback on what it's like to grow up at sea.
I get to interact with so many cultures, so many people, learn new worldviews and languages and religions. So for me, I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Well, here's how you know she wasn't kidding. In 2024, Karis married a Scottish anesthesiologist she met on a Mercy ship while they were volunteering together.
Well, she said to me, I want you to know, I know my life is starting to look like yours, but we will not live on a ship for 40 years.
By the numbers, guys, Mercy Ships has performed more than 125,000 surgical procedures and more than 500,000 dental procedures, while more than 500 couples have met and married while serving on board.
I mean, if you're looking for love, find it on a boat.
That's one way to find it. They have many stories to tell.
Yes. That's your Good Morning America First Look.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.